And good evening, everybody. My name is Eric Perugini. I am here with Patrick Hausman and Christopher Lahiff. This is our fourth edition of the live fourth edition of the live broadcast of the Philly podcast. And happy to have you on board. So tonight we're going to be talking some Phillies and see what happens from here. But as we all know, anything can happen. So, gentlemen, Chris, how are you tonight? How you doing?
I'm doing good. How about you guys?
I'm doing very well. Although I think the lady of the house here, my dog, is about to summons me to let her out. What timing? She's been sleeping all day, and now she decides to get up. I don't know what that sound was.
I don't want to know. So
Yeah.
what? So obviously, it's been a while. I was away on vacation, so it's been a while since we've been on air. Obviously, the
Yes,
big
it
Philadelphia
has.
sports news is the Sixers.
Yeah, how colossal flop that they were.
So with that,
Man.
I'm gonna let Pat take the lead, and then you can talk. And then I was in a debate with somebody from the Flyers nitty gritty. I'll get to that, but yeah, Pat, give us your feelings on the Sixers.
Well,
I mean, you basically predicted what would happen.
No, I actually predicted that
Yes,
we
you
were
did.
going through initially, but and I was very confident of it. But I don't understand modern basketball and not wanting to play matchups when you have a guy like Trae Young who can just start cooking and really hurt you offensively. Why are you not putting him in situations on the other end of the floor that are going to make him uncomfortable or kind of slow his momentum down, make him tired? Back in the day, when a small guard was on the floor like that, bigger guards like Mark Jackson backed those guys down. Mark Jackson was the best I ever saw doing it. He playing his back to the basket as a point guard and just walking those guys down and scoring at will on them until they were forced to do something else. In modern basketball, you could force him to switch off on anybody and let that person just take him to the post. He plays defense like a child playing against their dad in situations like that. He looks uncomfortable. He has wild fouls. He just swipes at the ball. Force him to do it. And it's the Knicks didn't do it. The Sixers didn't do it. I'm watching the Bucks. Obviously he hasn't played since he got hurt, but they didn't do it either. So at what point does the coach swallow his pride and say, you know what, this is how we normally do our offense, but we like the matchup here, and we're going to go with the best matchup? Because Nate McMillan's doing that. Nate McMillan's, he's every game he's going back to the film, and it seems like he's coming up with a matchup that favors his team. Why isn't anybody else doing that? So it's just frustrating to watch because they're not the most talented team, but they're beating teams like the Sixers, like the Bucks, who are more talented than them. So me watching, it's just frustrating to see that. Like, the Sixers had a prime opportunity here. Now with free agency next year, where people are going to go and how good teams are going to be, they completely missed a good opportunity here to go try to win a ring. And you pass up on one or two of them, you may not get another chance. So I'm just very disheartened as a Sixers fan. Look at a team like Phoenix. It took them, they did their rebuild about 6 years. They're playing in the finals. Hawks did their rebuild, took them about 4 years. Chances are they're going to be playing in the finals, unless if Giannis comes back. And even if he comes back, I don't know if he'll be enough. So it's frustrating seeing teams like that succeed so quickly when, we went through that whole process. I felt like we got the right guys, and we just didn't. Ben Simmons has taken the Olympics off to work on his game. I'm going to say it right now. Come October, he's going to be the same damn player he's been. The guy's just not a worker. He doesn't work. And he doesn't go to the gym in the morning and show up and try to work on things that are going to make him uncomfortable. The guy's got the yips. The mental game is completely not there. And to be honest, I don't know if he has the desire to want to get better. I think he's very content with what he's doing. He's an all-star, multiple-time all-star. He's a millionaire. He just bought a huge house in California. I don't think he necessarily loves the game. You know, and there's guys like that. You see it in sports all the time. Eric Dickerson was a guy like that. Great player, a lot of talent. He didn't love the game. So, well, that's just the way it is. You can't force it on people. I think that's just how he is. He just doesn't. He's not Kobe Bryant, where Kobe was obsessed with winning and loved the game. He just doesn't.
Well, I mean, you said it. Like, there's some people that just don't have that love for the game. And he said in the post-game press conference, not even the exit press conference, I am who I am. Like, that's very concerning. I mean,
yeah,
you were a guy who, you know, you were not the piece, but you were part of the pieces for the process. You were the number one pick in the draft, and you said, like, his problem to me is he's got too many people in his ear, which every single one of them are all family, you know. And Stephen A. Smith said that on Get Up, you know, when he got that tweet live on air, or that text live on air, where someone inside the Sixers organization basically just said, "This is how Ben is. He doesn't listen," and it was very telling when he said, "I am who I am." You know, he said before when they asked him after a series, you know, what do you have to do to improve your game? And his answer was, "I'm an all-star." I don't know what that sound was. I heard it again, but he said his answer
was a text message going off. I'm sorry, my phone's vibrating. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's not what it sounded like.
Yeah. I got to run real fast, gentlemen. My dog is throwing up all over the house. So, oh, jeez.
Right.
I got to
go. All right. So, when he comes back, he'll be good. So, obviously, I was at Reedy's the other night, and I was part of a podcast, and not that I was defending Ben Simmons, but I was more or less like, obviously the blame goes to Ben Simmons. There isn't anybody in Philadelphia who's going to sit there and defend Ben Simmons, but there was also other reasons why we lost a 7-game series. You know, Tobias Harris, a max player, can't score 4 points in a game.
He was horrible. Like
in Game 5, he scored 4 points. Was it Game 5 or Game 4?
Yeah, I think it was Game 5.
Yeah, you can't score 4 points. The Sixers scored 23 fast break points in Game 7. It would have been 31. Actually, it would have been more, but Tobias Harris missed 4 layups.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's big. So, and again, so Tobias is obviously, we all know Joel had 8 turnovers. You know, the big stats, but it's the other stats that people just don't look at. Game 5, when they had a chance to win, the last 2 minutes of the game, Tobias Harris, he got blocked on a layup, he missed a layup, and then he turned the ball over on an inbounds pass to take the lead with like 10 seconds left. Like, those are key points in a basketball game. Now, I did make a point to the other 2 people who were on the podcast that this wouldn't be a big deal if he wasn't a max player. But he is a max player. And max players don't miss those shots. We know what Ben Simmons is. We already know what Ben Simmons was. Like, so I don't know about anyone else. I had zero faith that they were going to win that game. Game 7. I had no confidence. I didn't think they were going to win Game 6. My wife went nuts for me on Game 7. We were trying to find. I was in Kentucky, and the place we were at didn't have cable. It only had streaming services, and unfortunately, we didn't have Hulu, so I had to borrow someone's Hulu. And you know, she was able to hook that up to the Nintendo Switch, and I was able to watch that. Like, she went above and beyond for me to watch the Sixers lose Game 7. Like, it was a disgrace. And you know, they were up. I think it was like 96 or 94-90. And I was like I was playing categories with my family. I had zero faith that they were going to win. And I can't be the only one.
I had zero faith in Game 6. I was out at a pub, my wife and one of the women she works with and her husband. I was shocked they won Game 6. But you brought up a point about the layups. I've never seen a team that was that's so talented not be able to dunk a basketball. You know, these guys are 6'7". They're going to finish at the rim. The only guy I see ever consistently, slam a ball down is Matisse Thybulle. You know, Ben Simmons, he shies away from it. It's not he can't do it, but like Joel Embiid's 7'2", and he's going in and he's laying the ball up when he should just be power dunking it over these people. I don't understand why when he gets the ball down the post like that, he's not turning around and just slamming it in somebody's face.
Yeah, I don't know.
Shaq made a career out of it, and Tobias Harris. Well, that's if he's all by himself. He doesn't finish that way. He tries to shoot layups, and he gets his shot blocked a lot because of that.
Yeah. So, TK rises, but Tobias isn't paid to be the guy you get to blame. $36 million a year, you're getting the blame. I'm sorry. You're getting $36 million a year. You're getting the blame. Like, obviously Doc Rivers is his coaching, wasn't phenomenal. Tobias Harris is making more than Ben Simmons. I mean, people don't realize it's only like $500,000 more, but he's still making more than Ben Simmons. So he is the guy we get to blame. When you look at the stats say that Ben Simmons, or that Tobias Harris, I'm sorry, not Ben Simmons, he lays some of the blame. People think that Simmons' contract, it's a max contract. It's not a max contract. But Tobias Harris's is. And he had a good series. He averaged 20 points. He had 8 rebounds. He had 4 assists. He averaged a steal and a half a game. But he averaged 2 turnovers a game. And they were turnovers at key moments. Not like in the beginning of a game, not a shot clock violation. Like an inbounds pass that got intercepted. Like that's, again, max players don't do that. Like that's just, if you want to get paid, then you got to make the plays. So that's why I blame. I put a lot of the blame on Tobias Harris too. I can't sit back and just blame Ben Simmons. I've been saying it since the series ended. That's just a lazy sports take. Ben Simmons is the reason they lost the series. Again, like I said, 2 minutes ago. No, there's more to it than that. There's more to it. When you break down the film, when you break down the transition points, when you break down the laziness of a layup and how many times it gets blocked, you got to be better than that. Like you said, Joel Embiid, 7'2", he's got to dunk the ball. Ben Simmons has to dunk that ball and not be scared of Trae Young and his stupid hair. You have to make them plays.
6'1" guy with no way of being a rim protector, and that's what we're shying away from. That was embarrassing. And the other issue I had with Ben Simmons is he gets out on the break. I mean, he was even afraid to dribble on the break. It wasn't even just taking a shot. He got the ball. They got 4-on-3. If you pick your head up, you got 4-on-3 back. He's just crossing half court, and he's passing the ball at half court to Joel Embiid. Why is your 7'2" center receiving the ball there? Why are you not trying to take on a defender, allowing them to get closer to the basket, and then feeding the lob, or getting the ball out to a corner because they got to pick Embiid up on there, they got to pick him up on the drive, and you get an open 3. And you also have 2 guys that are down ready to rebound. He messed up the flow on so many opportunities for fast breaks too. And a lot of people miss that. But he gets a rebound, or somebody gets a rebound, they kick it out to him. He takes 2 dribbles, sees a bigger guy, less talented ball handler, and he's passing the ball off to him at half court. He was completely useless offensively. Offensively, it was a 4-on-5 game. And I don't know how you can really win games like that. But again, he's coddled. He's been probably coddled his entire existence, because he's used to being the best player and having, being able to get to the basket whenever he wants. And this is the first level where he can't do that consistently. He just can't completely overpower people. And I don't know if it intimidates him or what, but he certainly doesn't love the game enough to want to get better and pick up these skills. So, like I said, I'm all for moving him at this point. Unfortunately, when teams feel that way, and it's very clear Sixers feel that way, it kind of puts you in a bad negotiating position. They said there's plenty of teams out there that have interest in them, and that's great. I know in years past with teams, it's just these trades never work out in our favor. So We'll have to see where this goes. I just, like I said, and we're just like a snake bitten franchise. I feel like I feel like no matter what we do, it's going to end up being the wrong move.
Yeah, so TK Rise is very adamant about Ben. And, he was 34% at the free throw line, not 30%. But the team shot 65% at the free throw line. Let's talk about that. Like we said it. You said in the beginning of the series that if they keep missing these free throws at a record pace, it's going to bite them. And it turned around and bit them.
Yeah, it came back and reared its ugly head. And was I talking to you about what people said about the Giannis thing? Did you say that?
No.
Who'd rather shoot foul shots, Giannis or Ben, if your life depended on it?
Oh, you have plenty of time to say goodbye to your family.
Yeah, yeah. That's like I don't understand that it's a 15-foot shot with nobody blocking it. How a professional athlete can't? They say, well, they don't work on it. Well, those guys are out there shooting all day. It's a damn shot. It's the same thing. Your muscles should have so much muscle memory, and your eyes should just be able to size that up that those guys are shooting over 70%, every single one of them. I don't understand.
I was at my swim club the other day, and I was playing basketball in flip flops, and I was at the free throw line, and I took 10 shots and I made 7 of them.
Yeah.
Free throws.
Yeah, I mean, if I go to St. Martha's tomorrow, I'll do the same thing, and I'll go 7 or 8 for 10. But I'm backing up.
That's why. Oh, my chins. So but it'll be interesting to see what they do in the off season. Obviously the Dame Lillard talks are starting to heat up. But we'll see. Like, if you're willing, I'm willing to give up Maxey and Ben and first round picks for Dame Lillard.
I'm willing to go up
that
Harris
pick.
And Ben.
They're not. No one's going to take Harris's contract.
I mean, they got.
You would have to if you traded Harris and Ben, that's $72 million worth of money, right? And 2 players.
Yeah, I think Rip City wants to stay relevant, and them trading away their best player is going to be really a tough pill for the fans to swallow, and for the front office to go tell the fans, by the way, we trade Damian Lillard away. At least if you could trade them for 2 guys that are coming off being the number 1 seed, I don't, I'd be all right with them throwing Thibault in too. However, you're taking basically 2 defenders and 2 guys that don't score. So I don't know how you would sell that. At least Harris, you could say, well, he's a guy who gets 20 points per game.
Right. So, yeah, I mean, you can't trade, 2 of your starting line, two of your starting players, and a key bench player for 1 player. That's a bad basketball move, and you're going to trade first round picks. That's bad basketball. That doesn't make sense to me.
But you're trading your pick for their pick. They're picking you what, 23? 22?
Yeah, but you thought what is it?
If we're swapping,
I thought the picks were going to be I thought the pick was next year, to be honest, which is fine, but that still doesn't. I don't know. It just doesn't work for me. It doesn't work. I'm not opposed to it.
So,
Daryl Morley will do whatever.
But you're swapping Ben on a rookie contract. You're swapping. You'd be getting rid of Harris on a max deal and taking on another max player. I mean, you could still go after somebody.
Yeah, and it's 36 million. TK analyzes it's 36, not 30, 36. So I don't know what the Pelicans are eating, but it's fish. I don't know if they're eating a contract.
Who do the Pelicans give us? Brandon Ingram? Are they willing to part with Brandon Ingram? I mean, that's the thing. I don't know.
So I'm on record, and I got screenshots to prove it, that I wanted Brandon Ingram before I wanted Ben Simmons. However, I stick up for Ben Simmons because he's our guy. I'm not going to root against him. I feel like there's too many people, there's too many fans in this town who were all happy that the Sixers lost, so they can sit there and say, "I told you so." No, that's not. It's just wanting to be right all the time, and I'm right all the time, and I hate it that I am right most of the time, because I hate like I had the Sixers in 6. I was right. They should have swept Atlanta. They should have swept them. They shouldn't have lost game 1. If there was like 10 more seconds in that game, they win that game. But obviously, that's why it's a 48-minute game. They didn't play for 48 minutes. That came down to coaching. Then, obviously we saw game 2 and game 3, and then game 4 was just a travesty. I don't know how you blow back-to-back leads like that. It's actually I'm more impressed that they blew back-to-back leads than actually losing to the Hawks, which is ridiculous.
I mean, you have to work hard to lose leads like that. They had to work hard to lose that lead. I mean, that's how ridiculous it was. Yeah, I mean, that's why. And with Tobias not being a closer, with us paying him so much money, that's why I'm just okay with kind of cutting the cord here. I honestly, in an ideal world, I would love to end up with Russell, and I would love to end up with Zach LaVine. Those would be the two guys I would like to end up with. That's probably not going to happen.
You talking about D'Angelo Russell?
Yeah.
If I'm trading Ben Simmons and Tobias Harris, I'm getting more than Zach LaVine and D'Angelo Russell. That's just my opinion.
I don't think you're going to get that. And to be honest, like I do feel like those guys have better opportunity to close games out than the other two. I mean, I've seen 2 seasons worth of playoffs now where Tobias Harris comes up small in big moments.
Yeah, I
lay down. Come on, Mick, go lay down.
So, everything good, Eric? So, yeah, I mean, he came up. He only scored 4 points in game 1 against 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 Brooklyn in 2019. Hold on.
We lost him.
Oh.
You guys are good. You guys are good. You guys are live. Give me 1 second.
Okay.
Oh, okay. All right. So what were you guys talking about, Patrick? I'm sorry.
Just like, where could the Sixers go from here with what they're going to try to do in the offseason? I'm for them trying to move Harris and Simmons at this point. Neither one of them are guys that you can count on to close games out. I don't think we're going to get Damian Lillard. I don't see that. I know somebody was saying Kyrie Irving. I don't want that. I don't want to be within 20 yards of that guy. That guy's whacked out of his mind. I like D'Angelo Russell. I like the fact that he's a combo guard. He's a great shooter. He can create his own shot. I think if you pair that type of guy with an Embiid, and then you get somebody that's supremely athletic like a Zach LaVine. Now, Zach LaVine doesn't play enough defense.
Right.
But as Andrew Wiggins proved this year, if you have the athletic ability, you can play defense. Andrew Wiggins was one of the worst defenders 2 years ago in the league. Horrible. And he was the main guy that got stops for his team this year. And he improved greatly defensively. And really, it was just him living up to his athletic ability and being able to stay in front of guys and using his length. And like I said, LaVine is a supremely athletic guy, and he's a finisher, and he can shoot. Like, if you get 2 of those guys, you instantly become a better, more athletic team, I feel like. Because we were talking about Tobias Harris, he gets to the rack, and he can't power over anybody and dunk. He throws up a layup, it gets blocked, or hits the rim and it rolls out. Like, we've seen enough of that during the game. Just throw a dunk down on somebody. He can't do that unless if he's on a fast break and nobody's in front of him. And I don't understand that. And like they got cooked by guys like who was the guy? They hate the face guy, John Collins, just playing above the rim. And we don't have like even Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid's 7'2". I feel like he could turn around, stick his arm up, and touch the rim, but he's having a hard time elevating over guys to dunk. It's like, what is going on?
Right.
But like, I'm 6'3". I could dunk back in high school, and I could dunk pretty easily. These guys, they're 4 or 5 inches taller than me, and they're having a hard time getting above the rim. I don't understand that. And
I'm dunking a donut.
To me, it just screams like they are good basketball players, but they're not on the same level athletically as some of these teams that they're playing. Some of these guys. So I know free agency's rich this year. Guy TKN said, it's going to be a good year for free agency. All the more reason why, if you can get rid of a contract like Tobias Harris, make it happen.
Well, see, that's the whole problem, though. It's like, yeah, free agency is rich, but if they can't move, if they can't move a Tobias Harris, you're not getting anybody.
Right.
It's like if you can't move if you're going to move Ben Simmons, I mean, literally, you're not going to get anyone. That's the whole problem. Because as of right now, I mean, we still have a lot of time to go. That's got to be on my end, Chris, because I don't know if you guys heard that noise when I was out.
It's vibrating. It's my phone vibrating. I just got an email.
It's your phone.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Sure. It's your phone.
Yeah, no, I mean, I would love for them to be able to do something in free agency, but unless they move at least one of those max contracts, they're not going to get anybody because they just don't have the money for it. I wouldn't be opposed to them moving on from Fly. I wouldn't be opposed from them moving on from Harris either. I would still try and move Ben first because you're going to get more for him than you will for Harris. But yeah, I mean, this whole thing has just been complete. Even though they were the number 1 seed, again, a complete failure. And I mean, there's a lot of moving pieces that were the problem of that failure. It wasn't just focused on Ben Simmons. You had your coaching, like you said, Pat. Tobias Harris didn't show up. He wasn't there. But it's all going to come down to Ben Simmons. I mean, you just look at his numbers in the fourth quarter of that series. I mean, that was disgusting. I mean, that was honestly disgusting.
He shot 100% in the fourth quarter. I don't understand why we're talking about this.
It's 0-0.
Shut your face. 3 shots in the fourth quarter that whole series. That's great. But excuse me. Yeah, it's just going to be. It's going to be hard. There's going to be no way that they can bring Ben Simmons back. And I don't buy that stuff about him opting out of the Olympics to work on his game. He opted out because he's going to get exposed globally, not nationally, globally, and he's going to be exposed. He's not going to want to go up against the USA guys.
On a team like that, he would have to be the closer.
He would have to be the guy, exactly.
Yeah, and you don't want to be the guy. It's just... It's so frustrating because, like I said, if he had just developed and he decided he wanted to be the best player in the world, he had the opportunity to do that. Not every guy, there's very few guys that you could say that about. He was one of those guys, and he just decided he didn't want to be the best player in the world.
Yeah, and he's content with what he is.
Yeah, I just, as a competitor, I don't understand it. As a coach, I don't understand it. As just a casual sports fan, I wouldn't understand it. It just doesn't make any sense to me.
I was telling Chris in a text conversation we had with some other guys that I legit got into not an argument, but I was questioning this one guy on Facebook. He didn't think Ben passing on that wide open dunk was such a bad thing because he literally said that he passed because he knew he was going to get fouled and he can't shoot foul shots. I said, so you're okay with him showing that he's scared to play the game of basketball? I said, that's what you're saying, that it's okay for him to play scared. I said, that makes no sense at all. And of course I was told that, you know where to go. I don't know the game of basketball. And I was like, have another blunt. Maybe you'll figure out how to play the game of basketball, but it just annoyed me. Like, there was one person that was defending him passing up on that wide open shot. And you can't do that. There's no defending that. After that's it, what is going on? Yeah, you can't.
I used to make my son watch the video of Mike Singletary, the press conference years ago when he first started playing sports, because Patrick would sometimes he'd show up, sometimes he'd play really hard defensively, rebound, all that. And then other games he would just show up and he was just happy to be there instead of going out and actually playing, contributing. And I used to show him the video of Mike Singletary, and talking about how you can't win games if those players that are on the court or on the field aren't sold out to be part of this team. And he told his team, I'd rather play with one less guy out there because, those 4 guys, they're going to go out there and they're going to try their hardest and they're going to play the best they can possibly be. And he'd rather do that and play down a guy than play with a guy who one of the people just wasn't sold out to be part of that. And Ben Simmons was just not sold out to be part of that. It's the exact scenario he talks about if you go back and watch that press conference, that he was not sold out to be part of that team. And he's just not, he's just not a winner. The guy is just flat out not a winner. And that was the whole point of it. He wants winners. He wants people that, want to win. And this guy, he just doesn't want to win. He just wants to collect a check. He wants to roll up in his Ferrari. He wants to cry about Kendall Jenner and everything like that and just be babied the rest of his life. It's old. It's tired. It doesn't fit in at this town at all. Like, this town likes people like Allen Iverson. Allen Iverson would go out, get lit, gamble, and then come in and score 50 points in a playoff game, all while like having a broken wrist or a broken thumb. You know, that's the guy that this town loves. He's endearing. Even though he had problems off the court and still probably does to an extent, town loved him because he showed up and he played. He was a warrior. This guy's a coward. And I said it on Facebook. He's a coward. You pass up a dunk like that when Trae Young's defending, he's the rim protector on that play, you're just a straight-up coward. And, like, I have no respect for the guy. I don't want him on my team anymore. I don't care how many times he makes the All-Star team when he leaves here. He's done. He's dead to me. I don't want him on my team anymore. So
I agree. Yeah, I agree. You can't play scared like that, and that's not going to go over in this city at all. There's no way they can bring him back.
Yep, cannot play with him, cannot win with him, cannot coach with a guy like that. Just can't do it.
Nope.
And like I said, Singletary said it the best. And that quote and that discussion is so fitting for that guy. You can't find another one that fits him more than that.
No, you're right. And I don't know if anyone knows that he's talking. You know, Singletary's talking about Vernon Davis.
Yes. Vernon Davis cleaned up his act after that. You know, the guy was a good teammate after that. Woke him up. And like, that's the kind of guy that now, like, hindsight, I have respect for because he took that coaching and he applied it. He made himself a better player. He made himself a better teammate. This guy, he don't have the chops to do that. He don't want. He's not even interested in that. He's more interested in how he looks when he shows up to the arena, and that's why he doesn't shoot the ball because he doesn't want to look bad. He's more concerned about his image. That's pathetic. He's LeBron James, but without the scoring and playmaking ability. Because at least LeBron puts the effort in when he's on the court, and he wants to be a better player. He's concerned about his image off the court too, but at least he's doing the things on the court. This guy, it's how he looks and who he's with. Yeah. It's like I said, I don't got time for that. I feel like every person in Philly's probably feeling the same way. That is not a player that endears themselves to us.
Yeah, and I feel bad for Embiid. Like, we saw major growth from him this year. Like, he was playing on top of the world. I mean, if it wasn't for missing games, he would have been the MVP of the league. And we're wasting this portion of Embiid's career right here with nobody around him. I mean, nobody. So it's just a damn shame.
But in the same sentence, Embiid's play last year, Embiid's play the year before. Like, why does Embiid get a pass? Because he had a good 12-game series? And let's not forget, Embiid he wasn't good last year. They got swept last year. Without Ben Simmons.
No, he doesn't get a pass. He doesn't get a total pass. Like, he has his blames for this series that they lost because, I mean, the guy had 2 straight games with 8 turnovers. So, I mean, and he had turnover issues in the series. So you can't overlook that, but people won't bring that up because what I also just said, the guy would have been the MVP. When you're playing at a good level and you're playing at a high level and you're doing certain things correct, everyone's going to overlook your deficiencies. Everyone's going to overlook them.
And I would have been a major league baseball player if I could hit a 99-mile-an-hour fastball. You know, I get what you're saying about wasting his years. He wasted 2 of his years by not conditioning himself.
True.
So there's more. So I get that we're wasting his years with Ben Simmons as the point guard. But don't forget, 2 of those years he wasted, he did to himself.
That's true.
Ben Simmons didn't make him eat 35 Chick-fil-A sandwiches.
So what's
with the Chick-fil-A sauce?
What 2 years are you talking about?
I'm talking about last year, and I'm talking about the year before.
Okay, so the year before they were undone by a shot that hit the rim 4 times. They almost knocked off the champs. They should have really won that series. And he was the only one after the game that seemed like he was very upset that they lost that. And he had a great series. I thought he had a great playoff series against, in both, in the series before that and the series against the Raptors. I think he played very well. Last year,
but you got to. I don't know if you remember. I'm sorry, not to cut you off, but I don't know if you remember. He sat out games because he had a weak stomach from eating 18 chicken sandwiches.
I don't think that it came out that that's what it was. They said he was sick. I don't know what he was sick from though, but I don't think that ever came out.
But
Is
I mean,
that confirmed?
obviously, we're going to. Well, for me, I'm going to assume that's what it was because that's what the rumors were. You know, I said, like, I'm on record of saying at that time, I'm like, in this age of social media and cameras, you know, if he really has the shits, excuse my French, from, you know, and he can't play, someone had to get a picture of him at Chick-fil-A with 10 chicken sandwiches. We know he bragged about how much he loves Chick-fil-A and how much he eats before a game. We know this. We don't know if that's why he was, but we're going. Well, most of the fan base is going to assume that that's what the problem was.
Yeah. So, and like last year, I mean, you're looking at a lame duck coach. Everybody knew Brett Brown was gone, playing in the bubble.
I was actually just throwing. I was just throwing that in there. I don't count last year.
Yeah,
like
I mean,
like TK and Rise has said.
Yeah. Yeah, that was
Yeah,
that
never
was.
heard.
I was just throwing it in there.
I mean, I look at the guy. He's a Cameroonian immigrant. He played, you know, he was a volleyball player. He converted to basketball because of a basketball camp he went to. Played 1 year at college, came here, and he's blended in better with this fan base than the other guy had who spent time in America, went to high school here, went to college here, has family here. His father was from here. You know, and so I'm looking at Embiid and I'm saying this guy gets us more than the guy who should get us more. And he seems like he's the type of guy. I mean, crying after he lost to the Raptors. Was it a good look? It looked kind of weak. Yeah. But at least he cares. You know, at least I saw that he cares and that bothered him. This guy, Ben Simmons went out. Oh, I am who I am. You know, shrugs his shoulders, doesn't care. Just a complete distant look on his face. I can't stand that. Like, I want somebody that's going to, you know, who was it? It was Tyrese Maxey. Like, the day after was, like, in the gym for, like, 4 hours working out. That's a rookie. That's a guy who I think spent 1 year at Kentucky or 2 years at Kentucky, and he's back in the gym the next day. He gets it. And this guy's a 4-year. This guy's a 4-year.
Kentucky doesn't recruit bad basketball players.
No, no. And I actually, you know, I love that kid, and I would hate to see them lose him because of having to trade Ben Simmons away.
So, me personally, and I'm on record saying, I know he shouldn't have. But Maxey should have started Game 7, and Ben should have been on the bench.
Yep,
that's just my opinion. But it's you know, as a coach and as a veteran coach, it's hard to bench your starting point guard for a rookie. It really is hard, especially in a Game 7. It's hard. It's like going to, you know, it's like having a healthy 2017 Carson Wentz. And going to the Super Bowl and saying, Carson, you know what? I'm gonna start Nick Foles. It's not saying it's the same, but it's a hard decision to make. I wouldn't want to make it. Yeah, I know nobody else wants to make that call, but
I can tell you right
comparable
now. I can tell you right now, if I was the coach in that situation, sure as hell Simmons would have been on the bench. I'm not gonna sit there and watch him struggle. I'm not going to sit there and watch him become a late game liability because he can't hit from the line. I'm not going to sit there and watch him, you know, as soon as he gets the ball, look for the open player and pass it instead of bringing it up. No, I'm not. I have balls. I would be a coach that has balls. If it's going to cost me my job, that's so be it.
So, all right, so let's play devil's advocate. You lose Game 7. Now do you know what the media is going to be? You should have started Ben Simmons. He would have won Game 7.
And my response to them would absolutely be, no, I'm the coach. I made the decision. You guys and everyone else were saying, start somebody else, not just Maxey, start anybody else. That's what I did. I made a coaching decision, and now you're telling me it's wrong? That's why you write. That's why I coach.
Yeah, in politics, you have things, you know, people are Republicans, and they say, you know, they're Republicans in name only. Meaning that every other thing about them screams that they're a Democrat. The only thing that's Republican about them is that they have an R next to their name. That's pretty much what Ben Simmons is at this point. He's a point guard in name only. That's it. He's only a point guard because we call him a point guard. Point guards don't give up the basketball at midcourt and allow your 7'2" center to go on the fast break instead of you handling the fast break. That's not what point guards do. All right? Point guards make everybody else around them better. Who can you honestly say over the course of maybe the last 10 games of that season, who did he make better? Nobody.
Yeah, you can't.
You can
Nobody.
say Joel Embiid made somebody better because the double teams pulled defenders away, and Seth Curry went off. So he made him better. You can't say Ben Simmons honestly made anybody else better out there. He's a point guard in name only.
That's it. By the way, I love the Rhino terms. I love that. I find that so funny.
Yeah.
I find that incredibly funny.
Yeah, and it perfectly fits for the situation. He's a point guard because we say he's a point guard at this point, or he's playing point guard. He does nothing that look what Chris Paul did last night. Did his game over the last 10 games resemble anything Chris Paul's done? And he's the gold standard, Chris Paul. Over the last he came out in 2005. So over the last 16 years.
Yeah, you're right.
Point guard in name only.
You're right. And the sad part is for Ben, that's the only position that he can that you could plug him in at. Because he can't play anywhere else at this point.
Listen,
where else are you going to put him?
Ben Simmons, and I've said this before with the guys I work with, Ben Simmons is a forward who can dribble. That's it. He's got handles. That's all he's got.
Yep.
That's how it is, plain and simple. But with that, what else do you have to add about the Sixers?
Well, for me, it's just my frustration with Ben. I get so mad about it because I know he can be so much better. Like we've seen what he can do, and hell, when Kobe Bryant says Ben Simmons needs a jump shot, that's all I need to hear. When someone a legend like that says he needs a jump shot, and I know he's got that jump shot. You saw it in summer league, you saw it in preseason, you saw it early in his career, and now he's just, I'm an all-star, I am what I am. That's what makes me so mad about him. Just he lost that passion.
Magic Johnson offered to help him too, so.
Yeah, he did.
But the league told him he couldn't.
Well, yeah, they said he couldn't.
Remember that the league said, you're not doing it.
Yeah, league said no.
So before we switch over to Phillies talk, we're going to do a couple what ifs.
Okay.
What if the Sixers advance to the conference finals, lose in 7 games, and Ben Simmons shoots 60% from the free throw line? Like he upped it. Like he actually makes them. How would you feel about him then?
I'd be upset because that means they lost to the Bucks that didn't have Giannis for the final 3 games.
Well, we don't know if Giannis would have got. We don't know if Giannis would have got hurt.
Well, no. See, I'm going to assume like everyone does at the beginning of every season. You're going to a season healthy. I'm going to assume that going into a conference final game 7, I'm going to assume that everybody's healthy and these are just games battling back and forth. The fact that they made it to a conference final and made it to a game 7, I would be happy alone. But I would be ecstatic if Ben Simmons actually stepped up and produced something. Because, we've heard it before, people saying, if only they made it to a conference final, I'd be happy. I would honestly be happy with that. I honestly would. Especially if it's a game 7. You're on the cusp of the championship, so I'm not going to complain about that.
So, my last thing, Ben Simmons was plus 30.
What was that, Patrick?
I'd be for a tear down. Because this is the good side of them finding out, and losing the way they lost. Because the guy, he's just not a winner. It's not his DNA. So at least we were able to find that out. If they go to a game 7 against the Bucks, and half the fan base is okay with it, half the fan base isn't okay with it, they keep this thing around for another 2 or 3 years. I think learning now that this guy's just simply not a winner, it's not his DNA, it allows them to actually try to fix this and try to make the team better and find somebody who is a winner and bring that person here. Because that's what's going to ultimately get us championship, is bringing in enough the collection of winners here to finally do this thing.
All right, so basically you're more or less saying it was a blessing in disguise that they didn't advance.
Yes.
Okay. Listen, I can respect that. Like, everyone's got their opinion. So I don't. Before we switch over to Phillies, Ben Simmons was plus 39 for the series, and Tobias Harris was plus 8. But with that, let's talk about the Phillies.
No.
I'm like, I just saw Tumbleweed come across the screen.
They're just difficult to watch.
There's nothing
I
good
just-
about them. There's
They didn't
absolutely
blow a
nothing
save.
good
They
about
haven't
them.
blown. Hold on, they haven't blown a save this week, so that's good so far.
Look, they got nothing. They got no farm system. They have absolutely nothing. I see people online criticizing Bryce Harper because of the money he's making, and I'm like, you know what? He chose to come here, and they're like, yeah, so he should be playing better. I was like, no, he chose to come here because they offered him that money, and they told him that they were going to build a championship team. And the guy that he went to bat for in the offseason, the catcher that we got, isn't friggin' hitting anything. Everybody loved him for his offensive side of the game, and now he's just a glorified chooch. That's what the hell he is right now.
He's not even throwing runners out.
Yeah.
So, all right. So,
Which is why you never make that kind of a trade for a stinking catcher.
so here's what we'll do. Here we'll spend the last 15 minutes basically bashing the Phillies. That's why I got my Louisville Slugger out. But all right, so first I'm going to lead off with Joe Girardi. Everyone knows my feelings on him. And everyone knows my disdain for him. But the Phillies, I can't even blame him for the Mets series because they're coming up with new ways to lose. The starting pitching in that series gave up one earned run. One. Jacob deGrom gave up 2. Like, that's insane. In a 4-game series, and that's the difference between being like 39 and 37 instead of 37 and 41. They should have swept the Mets. So the Phillies aren't a bad team as much as people think they are. I mean, don't get me wrong; they have their issues, but nobody's getting hot at the right time. It's not like Ohtani, who's hitting 28 home runs. Ohtani's got more home runs than Bryce Harper has RBIs. That's ridiculous. You know, Bryce Harper has 11 home runs. They're all solo shots. They're not getting they're not getting on base for him. He's come up like 78 times with 2 outs and no runners on base. And I'm going to say this, and I'm going to be very adamant about it. Bryce Harper, he's not an RBI guy. He's not. It's not his game. It's never been his game. If anybody wants to check the stats, look at his stats of how many times he's driven in 100 runs in his career. He once hit 40 home runs and drove in 99 RBIs. 99. Like, he had 40 home runs and he had 42 home runs and 99 RBIs. He's driven in 100 runs twice in his career. His last year with the Nationals and his first year with the Phillies. So we can talk about it all we want, but he's not an RBI guy. He most likely should be batting leadoff. I've been saying he's been batting leadoff since the beginning of the season. My other 2 Diamond Club podcast co-hosts have been saying he should bat and leadoff. He's not an RBI guy. Yes, he hits home runs. Yes, he hit 2 home runs last night, but he's not an RBI guy. It's not his game. He gets on base. He's aggressive.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, he's an aggressive player.
And he's not getting hurt because of his play on the field. He's getting hurt because he's getting hit with 99-mile-an-hour fastballs. And people are getting mad at him. They're sitting out a game. Go eat a 97-mile-an-hour fastball off your forearm and into your face. Tell me how you feel.
Those are the fans that are unreasonable. Yeah, that's all they are. They're just unreasonable.
Yeah, they're the fans too that when the guys have their kids are being born, they're saying that they shouldn't be there and they should be doing this and they should be doing they get a case of the sniffles and they're taking off of work. So I don't even want to hear that. You know what I mean? Those people are generally softer than baby shit. You know, excuse my language, but they're the ones that they'll say stuff like that. So I don't buy into that. My whole thing is with this team, and I know Chris talked about Girardi. For me, I just can't stand the bullpen because ever since Mitch Williams blew that save in '93, I have never gotten over the Phillies bullpen.
You had to bring up Mitch Williams.
Yeah, I mean, the only time I felt good was the good years. You know, when the 07 to 2010, they had Myers, they had Madsen. I loved Ryan Madsen in the 7th inning. I love J.C. Romero. I love Chan Hopar. I love those guys out of the bullpen. They were great. You know, they got the job done, consistently got the job done, and you didn't have to worry about that. And like now, it's just like, they get out to a 3-0 lead or a 4-0 lead, and you just know they're going to die a slow death here because somebody's going to come in the 6th inning and they're going to give up a run or two. Then somebody's going to come in the 7th and they're going to give up a run or two. And then the 8th. How many years do we have to see this before they change? And rebuilding your bullpen, like, relief pitchers don't make a ton of money. You can go and you can get guys. The closers make a good amount of money, but your 7th inning guy, your 8th inning guy, they don't generally make a ton of money. Go get some guys, pay them.
Yeah, so you're talking about the bullpen, and I had a little bit of a debate about people who want, Alvarado. He should be able to pitch a 5-out save, which is fine, but if he's got 30 pitches in the 8th inning and he finally gets out of a jam, don't bring him back out.
Yeah, right.
Like he's going to come out and struggle. Now, like when people said they're like, I question Joe Girardi. The other day he had Zach Eflin bunt, sacrifice. Then he took him out in the next inning. Didn't let him pitch one. Didn't let him throw one ball.
Yeah.
Why?
Well, he's probably the best guy equipped to bunt because nobody bunts anymore.
Yeah, but leave him in. Let him get another. He only had like 90 pitches. Maybe. He can. The other guy came in left-handed, intentionally walked the guy. Like it doesn't make sense. His calls. Like I'm in a group chat with TK Rise and his dad, and I am always blasting Joe Girardi. Always. Like I don't think Joe Girardi is a good manager. I don't care that he's got, a World Series win. I don't care that he's got a Manager of the Year award. I don't care. He had a all-star lineup, which are probably all going to go in the Hall of Fame for the Yankees. Like all those players are going to end up in the Hall of Fame eventually. It wasn't that hard to mess it up. It goes back
managing
to Charlie
in the American
Manuel.
League, and the other thing is too, managing in the American League's easy. Like when you have that kind of lap. Now he won the Manager of the Year in Florida, which was and he got fired right after it. But he won that World Series with a awesome lineup in the AL. I mean, my grandma could have probably won with that group. I mean, you have a DH.
Right.
You don't have to do double switches.
Right.
And Alvarado.
No,
about Alvarado too. It's a shame. The guy. I think baseball with the rule changes have kind of passed guys like him by. Great stuff to lefties, but with the rule change where you have to face a certain amount of pitchers, it doesn't fit his strong suits. I think he'd be much better served, 4 or 5 years ago when you could just come in, throw to one lefty, and then be out. Because he doesn't have the stuff. I mean, he's got good stuff when it's working, but he's not consistent with it. So he's a one or two batter kind of guy. I think that's
right.
He's
and
at
then
his best.
you go right, and you're right. But they have that rule for three batters so that the game gets faster. Well, I'm sorry. When you check the pitcher at the end of every inning, when you can replay every little thing, and you can tell the players to hold up. I want this play checked. That's not speeding the game up.
No,
that's slowing the game down. Like when I'm like I think it's stupid that you have to check the pitcher. Like I think it's stupid. There are batters who have come out and said, I don't care what he's got on his hand. If that means I don't get hit with one of his 99-mile-an-hour fastballs, I'm okay with it if he's got control of it. Like they are out on record as saying it. Trevor Bauer has said multiple times about this stuff.
Ooh,
and
don't
now
quote him.
60 games into his season, like we're gonna enforce this? That doesn't make sense. Like, and as a fan, it's frustrating. Like this whole checking the pitcher, it's gonna lead to batters getting hit. Because when Joe Girardi wanted to fight that pitching coach from the Nationals, they both should have been thrown out. Joe Girardi shouldn't have been thrown out. Because let me tell you something. If I'm a Phillies, and this is one thing that baseball needs to also come back to. Like, if Max Scherzer is going to stare at my dugout, I'm hitting your best player at the next at bat, or I'm throwing behind him. I'm throwing behind Kyle Schwarber to let you know Don't stare at my dugout because I will hit you in the face with a fastball. Plain and simple. I just feel like there's no heart in baseball anymore. And I'm not calling for players to be hit intentionally, but don't stare into my dugout. Like that's a complete sign of disrespect. You know, Major League Baseball enforced this rule on checking pitchers. The Philadelphia Phillies didn't do it. The Seattle Mariners didn't do it. The Yankees didn't do it. It's Rob Friedman. So now you're gonna stare me down into the dugout? Well, guess what? You two-eyed colored freak, Scherzer. I'm now throwing behind Kyle Schwarber. You're lucky I don't come out in the field and throw a bat at you. Like that was so disrespectful to the game, and the fact that that's not being talked about Scherzer irritates me. I know it, and I'm not saying the checking of the glove was legit. I think it was dumb. I think it was stupid. I think it was uncalled for. But Joe Girardi has the option to do that twice, and the umps check him the other time. That's not his fault. And then that was in 2 seasons. That was the first time I was proud of Joe Girardi because he was like, "Come on over, come on over," and then the ump threw him out. Why? Why is the pitching coach not getting thrown out? Who was sitting there yelling at him too? Takes 2 to tango. Like you want to yell, then I'm throwing at you. I'm sorry. And baseball just doesn't do that no more. They don't police themselves. You know, 2 years ago, everybody wanted to hit the Houston Astros because of their cheating scandals. But now you got pitchers walking off the mound, you know, staring into your dugout. You imagine what would happen in football? Like you ran over and caught a pass, and you stared at the sideline. You're getting drilled You're getting drilled.
Yep.
It will happen. You'll get hit. Like you'll get hit on the next play, or your quarterback will get a late hit, and it'll be a sign like, "Don't do what you just did." You know, do it in the end zone. Do it in the end zone. That's fine, but don't come over to my sideline and do it. Staring at someone's dugout is the equivalent of standing on someone's logo in the middle of a field or in the middle of a basketball court, or shooting the puck, or being the away team and shooting a puck into an open net during warm-ups when you're supposed to be off the ice, and then you come back on and you do that on purpose. That's, to me, is what that is equivalent to. And the fact that nothing was done about it made me disappointed in the Phillies as a baseball team that they didn't retaliate. That's just me. I could be 100% wrong.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say like that. I agree with you there. Like did the managers have the right to check 2 times? Okay, fine. That's great. But don't throw the guy out. You know what I mean? I agree with you on that. But the thing I don't understand about checking these players now, wasn't it not that long ago where they wanted the game sped up, and now they're allowing you're allowing this to happen? I mean, they make rules and then they counteract what they wanted to do in the first place. Like they wanted the games all sped up because they were taking too long, and now we're checking guys for foreign substances because why? A few pitchers, there's been like more than normal amounts of no hitters this season. I mean, come on. It's like you can't make one rule and then totally blow it out of the water with another one. So I just think Major League Baseball is just backwards run. Like it just annoyed me so much with how they operate in general. And like you said, just let the players police the game. Let them do it. Like that is a time-honored tradition and I know you and I argue about it a lot sometimes, Chris, when it comes to the cheating aspect. Like there's always been cheating in baseball. I do think that what the Astros did was a little over the top, but
I agree with you.
But that part goes along with the policing of the game. It's been around since the game first started, and the game was at its height with all of that going on. So let it be. Just let it ride out. There's nothing to change on it. There's nothing. There's really nothing. So
the thing with the Astros was installing the camera in center field is like that was a bit much.
Yeah.
Like I'll give you that. Like the banging on the trash cans. Like I don't even care about that. The Phillies in 2009, Nick Bollheimer was in the bullpen coach and had binoculars.
Yeah.
You know, so so it goes both ways. Like we have to look at it from 2 different standpoints.
Right. No,
So,
and I agree. I 100% agree.
I mean, they legitimately made a rule they made a new like video rule about that. Like, and then you have these, and don't get me wrong, the Astros only got a slap on the wrist. Like they legitimately did. Their GM got fired and the coach got fired, and then he got rehired anyway. He got another job.
Yep.
So
like that's. Yeah, I mean, if you ask me, that to me, that kind of cheating was close. I can't even talk about it no more. I got no words for it because it's just like that. That just annoyed me with the level with what they did.
Well, the Yankees were going to be accused of the same thing. Story was going to break, and then it just disappeared. It just disappeared because they're the Yankees. I'm sorry.
Right.
Chase Utley was accused of cheating in a story last week. They said he was the biggest cheater in baseball, but there was nothing to back it up. So I'm waiting to see if something comes out about that.
Hold on. That guy who wrote that story, he got blasted on social media. If I find it for you, I think
he didn't.
They had nothing.
He threw a claim out there that he was the biggest cheater in baseball, but you don't put it with anything. So I don't. But I just
everyone thinks Barry Bonds. Everyone thinks Barry Bonds did PEDs. He never tested positive. We all assume he did it because his head blew up bigger than mine. We all know I have a pretty big head, but there's no proof to it. You know, again, it's that assumption. Like everything's there that says he did it, but you can't prove it.
No, physics proved it. Like the human body, your head just doesn't automatically grow 2 sizes
without human growth hormones.
Without human growth hormones. So yes, he may never have tested positive for it, but he sure as hell did it. I mean, we also know that if the glove don't fit, you must acquit. We know he killed these people. So stop. I don't want to hear it.
Well, how dare you?
I don't want to hear it.
Hold on, real quick, Pat. Don't you dare besmirch those names.
If I could mute you, I would. But go ahead, Pat.
So Trevor Bauer's name came up twice in the discussion. I think the guy TKN said that he's laughing all the way to the bank. I don't know if you guys saw the story about him today. He ain't laughing anywhere. He might be laughing his ass to a prison cell.
Yeah,
that is not looking good for him. The Dodgers. I mean, he's probably going to get suspended, and depending on what the outcome of that is, he may never play baseball again.
It's going to wind up turning into another Aaron Hernandez.
Yeah, and that's a guy I don't know if you guys saw the Real Sports on him, but that's a guy that I would have never saw that coming. My God.
Nope, not at all.
He's like a dork, He's like a nerd, and that just came out of nowhere. I was shocked.
Yep. Yeah, that was. But yeah, that Trevor Bauer, that's some stuff. But hey, before I didn't hear.
I didn't hear it. I'm just looking at it now. I didn't hear anything about it.
Oh no! Oh wow!
God.
How about that?
Whew.
Well, anyway,
this is crazy.
Also, I would like to say happy Barry Bonds Bonilla Day.
I love it. It's my favorite day
of
the year.
Greatest contract of the year.
Like he's still going to get paid, and Bryce Harper's contract is going to be over.
TKN
Rises. There are text messages of him being abusive and him raping someone. So it's going to get interesting. He's still slated to start Sunday's game now.
I wouldn't have him play at all. I'd be like, nah, dude, you're sitting.
Well, so apparently the story was that he petitioned the girl to have a couple sessions of rough sex, and then apparently he choked her to the point where she passed out, and she woke up in the middle of him still performing stuff. And so he's probably going to go to jail for that. I mean, he should. That's just insane. Like I said, having seen stories about him, he's like a dork. I would never imagine that this would be the type of guy that would get busted for something like that. It's like I said, I was shocked when I read that today. But like I said, that's a lot of money the Dodgers are into him, and he's not probably ever going to pitch for them again.
Well, hold on. So why you sit there and say it's a lot of money? It's only for one season.
That is true. Yeah, he only signs 1-year deals. It's true.
Like he signed whatever his contract was. He could opt out after every year.
Yep.
What?
Yep. I forgot he did that. Yes.
Like that's a crazy contract. Like someone actually was like, "Yeah, we'll give you all right," and he's gone. I'm sure he'll come back on. But that's a crazy deal that he can opt out. Oh, you know what? I'm going to win the Cy Young this year. I'm opting out to get more money. I'm going to win the Cy Young again. I'm going to opt out more money. Now, if these allegations are turned turn out to be true. The only thing he's opting out of is, who he's sleeping next to, Bubba or Bubba the Brick House.
Like I said,
So-
I when I read that story, I would have thought if I had a list of pro athletes that I think would have been busted for a story, it wouldn't have been him. Like you said, he's a total nerd. Like I figured he'd be, dating some girl he met in high school and they were mathletes together or something. That's what I would have thought. I would have never imagined this. It's crazy.
So I don't know what's going on with him, but we're an hour and 5 minutes, so I guess we should, we got our Phillies talking, we got our Sixers talking, so we'll.
Could we not go over an hour? Is that what it is?
No, we can. No, we can go over an hour.
Gotcha.
No. So, but I got to get up at 4 a.m., so I still got to shower. I'm sure my wife's going to murder me. I don't know for what today. So, if she's even awake.
All right. Well, good show, man.
Good show. Thanks to TK and Rises. There was someone else who commented. So, hopefully we get him to come back next week.
Yep.
Check us out on CEV Sports, our website, cevsports.com, our Twitter handle, our the CVA Sports, and the same with Instagram. And on Facebook, CEV Sports. Thanks, people. Deuces.